There we go. Mic's off. So this is Laura from Healthy Carnivore. A little background story for myself is that I did keto for 28 years and started carnivore 6 years ago. So I just passed my 6 year carniversary. Um, and I did not suffer from the condition I'm going to go over tonight, but I have had several in my family who had this and several patients I've taken care of over the years that have had polycystic ovarian disease syndrome, whichever one you want to call it. So I'm going to go over that with you guys tonight. Hi, Kat. Hi, Grace. Hi, Kim. Yay. So you had all four grandchildren today, Kim. How did that work out? I've had all four before, and I'm just like, I can't do this. Even with carnivore, I can't do four. I can do three. Hi, Karen. How are you? Perfect. Hey, T, how are you? It's so funny. I did a Tuesday night live with Russ on his page, and we had Dr. Nelson Vasquez, who wonderful guy, on, and some other people on there, and going over some information and some health issues. Anyway, and so he would answer and then he'd say, "What about you, Laura? What do you think? What do you know about it?" Blah, blah, blah. Did that. And I had a commenter that says, "Laura thinks she's a doctor." And I was like, hell no, I don't. This doesn't ever want to be a doctor. Thank you very much. I prefer being a nurse, but I've eaten healthy for 33 years. So I think I have just a little bit of a background. So anyway, it was just funny. I was like, sure, okay. Oh, people are so funny. Keyboard warriors. They have all the balls in the world until you go private message them and then they get quiet. It's amazing. All right. Hey, Oaktown, good to see you. Yay, no work. Yeah, I today was a holiday for us, but I did have several patients that I did go see. Hey, Tara, how are you doing? So yeah, it was a good day though. Very cold. It was 11 degrees. I just asked my husband what the temp is because he's my weatherman. And he said it's 10. So it's actually dropped 1 degree. Hey, Simpson. Yeah, it's fine, Oaktown. I just was like, I have never claimed to be a doctor. In fact, I feel like if you go to my description, it says right there, I am not. Nor do I think I am one, nor would I ever want to be one. I do not have um, the stranglehold on nurses is not near as strong as the stranglehold that is on physicians when it comes to taking care of patients. So yeah, I will prefer to take care of the whole body person versus what they force the doctors to do now. So yeah, but it's okay. So anyway, let's start going over what I tonight's discussion. This is extremely prevalent in our society. It is more so now than it was when I was a teenager and a young adult. I maybe knew four people that had true polycystic ovarian syndrome or disease, whichever you want to call it, when I was in high school and young 20s total. And now I'd say it's probably from about 3-4% of women who had that I was around, at least, a couple thousand different people to now it's like 30%, and it's probably higher than that. It's just most go undiagnosed. I actually know of somebody who is in their late 40s, has every single symptom of this, has told their physician several times that they think they have this condition, and has been told that it's in their head. How many here have heard that? It's all in your head. I can't see it, therefore it is not true. Anyway, so let's go over some of the things that are characterized by this. Pretty simple things to look at and be like, yeah, that's definitely me or somebody that you know. Please like this, share this. If you have anybody that you think is suffering from PCOS, PCOD, whichever you want to go by, share this out. This can really have some significant issue. It can cause significant issues in the female body, um, but is reversible. So these things are definitely reversible. Actually, I think if you will ever go back and look at some of Dr. Barry's earlier videos, I think he worked with a lady. I feel like he said she was 50 or 51, and he warned her that going ketovore or carnivore could potentially fix this polycystic issue she was having with infertility along with that. And I believe she got pregnant at 51 and was happy about it because she had never been able to have children. Everything was fine. She had a keto baby. But I am going to be 54 in weeks, and I can't even imagine. There's no way. Okay. Simpson says, "That's what I was told." Yeah, and I have PCOS, exactly. Every female hypothyroid patient has heard that. It's in your head. Yeah, as long as your numbers, and it's the numbers they want to look at. If they do a full panel, do the reverse T3, all of those things, then they would find some of the issues that we have with our hormones a lot earlier than they usually do. Um, and then there'd be a lot less issues with fertility. Another person that if you have family that is having any issues with fertility, and is willing to do like ketovore carnivore, is to send them to Dr. Kiltz's page, and that's KILTZ. Because he actually a infertility OB, like, specialist, like he helps with that. And he has excellent outcomes with just changing their diet. I don't think he's 100% against medications, Lupron, different things like that, but I do think that he tries to see if they're willing to try this way first. So the first things that this can affect with women is it's going to be irregular or absent periods, meaning you may have a period every other month, every 2 months, may not have any for 6 months, and then here it comes back, which I'd say is probably the most common that I have seen with people. High androgen levels, which it leads to like excessive acne, especially the hormonal acne that you can get when you're going through menopause. Right around here is the area. Excessive hair growth or hair thinning. So when they talk about the excessive hair growth, a lot of times what I saw with women was the really dark, longer hair, okay, on the arms, uh, down the face, like through here, things like that. Very, very common to see that. Ovarian cysts, um, which that's not always, but that is very common that women have this, also have ovarian cysts. And then, of course, insulin resistance, which causes weight gain, which then can lead, not necessarily weight gain itself is going to lead you to diabetes, but the insulin resistance that goes hand in hand with that can lead you to a higher risk of diabetes. So that is kind of what you will usually notice. The other thing of just probably 5, 6 people that I know of very close to me, their shape is very similar. Even if they're not very much overweight, everything is carried. Is that called an apple shape? It's pretty much, just their upper body, like chest, abdomen, is kind of heavy, and then thinner legs, which you kind of see with some diabetics too, type 2 diabetics. Um, PCOS can cause infertility, mood swings, metabolic issues like high cholesterol, which when I say high cholesterol, that is more high triglycerides is what I mean, because I could care less if somebody's total cholesterol is 500, as long as their triglycerides are under 150 and really under 100's best. I think that's important. I think over the next few years, we're going to find out, hopefully, the truth will come out about a lot of health issues, when it comes to cholesterol, blood pressure, things like that. Um, so there are medical treatments that they do use for PCOS. And I'm not sure, I've seen a couple of you say that you've had this or did have it. Maybe these are things that you've had. So Hey, Brett, how are you doing? So he says that Dr. Kiltz calls PCOS plant caused ovarian sickness. That would be true. Plants and sugar, exactly. Kat says, I'm an apple. That is the shape. And that is kind of what I have seen with most people. Um, but that's okay. Kat, you don't have to be at goal weight yet. You have a goal, you'll get there. Um, Nice to see you for sure, Brett. I hadn't seen you for a long time. I asked Henri if he saw you at that meetup that you guys were all at, and he said, "Yep." So I was like, "Okay, he's still alive," because I hadn't seen you for a while. I thought maybe it was hunting season or something. I was like, "Boy, he's must be outside." So one of the treatments, medical treatments that they use, which is not my favorite, is hormonal birth control, which regulates your periods and lowers your androgens synthetically. Not that this isn't something that can be done, that does help, especially if you are in a severe PCOS. Definitely. Another one is metformin, which is, if any of you have family that's diabetic, it's a diabetic medication. It helps with insulin resistance and can restore ovulation through the lowering of your insulin resistance. Let's see. You're still around. Well, that's good. And yep, you were at the meetup. I thought so. Looked like you guys had a good time. Another medication is spironolactone, which reduces excessive hair growth and acne by blocking androgens. Spironolactone is a diuretic medication that is given also with people who have like congestive heart failure or uncontrolled high blood pressure. A lot of times they'll put them on that. Clomid or letrozole, which are used for fertility support. So that helps force ovulation so that you're able to have a baby. Weight loss medications are sometimes prescribed if obesity is a factor. And I would say weight loss medications are being prescribed now, whether you have weight issues or not, whether it be GLP-1s, whether it be what was the other medication? We had a medication that was actually a psych med, but it caused weight loss. You would think I would remember that because we had a lot of patients that had it. Hey, Lisa, nice to see you. I'll bet it's cold there too. It's 10 degrees here right now. Um, but anyway, I think it starts with an M. But anyway, there's a medication that we used, like I said, for psych med, but actually it also was shown to help with obesity. Holistic and natural treatments for PCOS. Now, everybody knows that that is, yeah, Wegovy is another one, T. So Monjaro, Wegovy, Ozempic, tirzepatide, all of that. Any of those is something that they will sometimes prescribe for this. So the holistic and natural treatments are always going to be what I'm going to try. Um, if it was me, I would try those first. If those did not work, I potentially may go to some of those others. Some of those others I would never, ever, ever take. Too many side effects. And we haven't even seen all the side effects because now that we have so many more people taking, I think we're going to see a lot more. Um, Diet and lifestyle changes, of course, is always going to be very important. I love it when I'll have clients say, well, my doctor says that changing my diet will have no effect on my body. And I'm like, what? What does that even mean? I just think that's crazy. Um, you are what you eat. Remember in the 70s, any of you guys were here in the 70s. I mean, there was commercials, you are what you eat. I don't know, that mindset went away and they were like, "No, no, no, we'll just give you pills and shots. We'll make you better and you have to take them forever, but it's okay." So Brett says, "What are your thoughts on microdosing GLP-1s?" Um, yeah, we actually went over that. Dr. Vasquez, Russ, James, and people like that last week. Um, I I have really, really, really researched that. I've had some people reach out that I really like them, and I think that person was definitely there, has had great outcomes, with that. My only concern is like with any other medication, is that long term, you will produce less of something if you're taking it exogenously than endogenously. You're going to make less. It's no different than taking insulin. The more insulin you take, the less insulin your pancreas makes. Then what do you do later on? You have to keep going up. So I don't know. I would say you would have to take it and really research it. I've had a lot of people that, and most of them were being given that higher dose that the medical institutions do, but not all of them. And actually, somebody who's extremely big in keto, ketovore, and carnivore, who's been in it for many, many years, um, and I mean many years, reached out to me because they have muscle atrophy. They are losing cardiac muscle and microdosing for over a year and a half. So I don't know. I would just say I would I don't know. I would try anything else but that. And then if that's your last thing, then okay. But it's kind of like get rich quick schemes to me. It's like that just usually doesn't work out trying to get there faster. Not saying it's that you're taking the lazy way out if you do it. And there are people who have lots of mold issues, who have lots of toxins. And, there's been times where, I mean, like this year, I literally lost 10 pounds and I really wasn't trying. I mean, I'm eating 80 to 90% fat, but I've been doing this for 6 years. And it was like my body was like, oh, okay, one more time of we healed one more thing. And I have no idea. Although, happy to report, I've had cheese once a week now for 2 weeks. Kind of excited about that without any reaction. So maybe there was some more healing that my body did in that 6 years time. So I would just be careful. I would really do the research. I would not only follow the specific docs who are really, really, really uh, coming out and being like rah, rah, rah. I would want opposing voices as well as those. And I'd really want to weigh those out. Um, so that's what I think. But that's just me, and I'm only a nurse. I am not a doctor, okay? So, some of the holistic things, like we said, is like the low carb, which of course is anti-inflammatory. The lower carb you go, of course, the better off you are going to be, and you will see an improvement of your symptoms. There are several herbal remedies and supplements. So, inositol supports insulin sensitivity and ovarian function. Excuse me. Actually, I have seen some doctors use that, and that seems to be a pretty good one. Let's see. Kat Diamond says she turned 58 yesterday, born in the late 60s, child of the 70s. Aha. So you understand. You remember those commercials. And the dude that wore the bodysuit that it looked like he was naked, but it was like his organs. He always kind of freaked me out. I don't remember his name. I know that was in the 70s, but he looked like the guy that painted. He had like that Richard Simmons type hairdo. I don't know, but he always freaked me out. Let's see. So another one is spearmint tea, which helps lower testosterone and reduce hair growth. Um, and that's for people, that have like the overactive, like the really long dark hair, like on the arms. It's not always dark, but most of the time it's really long on there. So yeah, yeah, yes, the guy that looked like Bob Ross, but I can't remember the guy's name that did. I don't know if it was on PBS, but he would wear this bodysuit that was flesh colored and it would have all the organs that you could see, like it was bones and the whole nine yards. I don't know. He was weird. I just thought it was odd for a man to be wearing something like that. It just looked weird to me. This next one is one that I have actually helped somebody I work with who had so many issues. She actually took those medications we were discussing, um, and had stopped them over a year and a half and still her stomach and her small intestine are not really functioning like they're supposed to. I think the starting dose most of the time was 2.5, and I think she started at point 0.5 and got as high as 2. She never even got to the full loading dose. Um, she lost 35 pounds, and within 4 months of being off of it, gained it all back. And she lost bone density and muscle, but her stomach does not work correctly. It's really bad, but she is starting to see some improvements. She could fast for 5, 6, 7 days, and she would hear absolutely no stomach growling whatsoever. She had no sounds. When I'd listen with the stethoscope, you're listening for what's called peristalsis, and that's where you can hear the movement, of your intestines. Zero. She has no sounds of that hardly at all. Just at the very end, basically. So berberine is that herbal thing. It works very closely to how metformin does, except it doesn't have all the side effects. So that is one that I really think that if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, you need to either get to with working with somebody who is like holistic, natural, functional, um, to understand how berberine can help you, and definitely look into that. Magnesium and zinc can help because that helps with your hormonal balance. Exercising, strength training. I would not do like hit exercises, high intensity interval training day after day after day after day. It's not that you can't do some of that. I'd love to do kickboxing. I used to do it every single day, and my cortisol levels were through the roof. Now I look like a boxer, but my cortisol levels were crap. So now I will do that 1 day a week. I do my sprinting. I do anywhere from 100 to 200 push-ups a day now, and rebounder, just easy things that you can do inside your own house. If you like to go out to a gym, if that makes you more accountable, then by all means, but I prefer to just work out at my home. Exercise can also help with insulin resistance, which is probably its main benefit. um, People think that going to the gym, they can outrun a bad diet, but you cannot exercise through a bad diet. All right, let's see. Stress management is another one. That high cortisol, um, women can really, bring about like this polycystic ovarian syndrome's even worse. So yoga, meditation, quality sleep, and I would say sleep hygiene, where you're off of these computers and phones and TVs, blue light, or have the blockers an hour before bed is really, really key with helping with your sleep, avoiding EMF trackers. So I know everybody wears one, and that's okay if that's working for you. Um, it just can mess with your sleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, maybe take that off for a week and see what you think if you get a little better sleep. Um, when it comes to different things in your eating, is ketogenic, just the low carb diets can absolutely help manage PCOS because it addresses the root cause, which is insulin resistance, inflammation, and hormone imbalances. So as you guys all know that netting, seeing this, let's see. Oh, see you, Brett. Thanks for jumping in. I'm glad you were here. Hopefully you have a good steak. I should have taken a video. I have a cowboy ribeye that's about this big around, about that thick. I could only eat about a fourth of it with some ribeye fat. Have a good evening. But insulin resistance really is major in this, and inflammation. And just like I don't know if anybody here has endometriosis or has had that. That is something so hard for you to get through to your physician sometimes, um, because if they can't see it, then it doesn't exist. I had that with my daughter with endometriosis. Took her to the doc we had when she was growing up. um, she started her period at 15, and within like 2 cycles, I was like, she has endometriosis. She had the excessive bloating. I mean, she had every single symptom. Horrible, horrible pain. Um, And he basically laughed us off and was like, "You can't have it that young. You can't have it that soon," and blah, blah, blah. Hence, when she was 29, she went to an OBGYN who listened and actually spent an hour with us going over all the first symptoms she started with and what I had noticed and what we went to the doctor about. And she said, "I'll do a physical examination to verify." But she said, absolutely, she had every single symptom from day one all the way down. So the moral of that story is continue squawking and finding people that can get you the help you need. Simpson says, "Were you thinking of Mr. Goodbody?" Yes. I saw him in person where we lived in Denver, where he was born. That is it, Mr. Goodbody. Yes. That freaked me out. I don't know. And then I became a nurse, so I like when we open somebody up, I'm always like, "That is so cool inside there," but I don't know, it weirded me out seeing it with that, but yes, that's funny. Huh. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that for a long time, but anyway, yep, that was him. So, the ketogenic or carnivore is going to help with PCOS. It's gonna help with, many other conditions, of course, because most conditions that we have come from inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and insulin resistance. So, if you can work on those, you're going to have a better outcome. Um, keto ketogenic diets will help by lowering insulin levels, which reduces the testosterone, improves ovulation in females, supporting weight loss, reducing excess estrogen stored in fat. But with that being said, which is true, the more fat cells you have, the more estrogen you have because they produce it. Um, and so you may notice sometimes men will have what they call gynecomastia, which is man boobs. Even if they're not real heavy everywhere else, a lot of times they'll have that. And they are estrogen dominant. Their testosterone is in the tank, guaranteed. A lot of that comes from the products that we put on our bodies as well, plus the foods that we eat. They have to be careful. Balancing out your hormones, leading to regular periods and fewer PCOS symptoms, reducing cravings and blood sugar spikes, making it easier to manage hunger. So I love fat when it comes to the, ketovore, carnivore type diets. I do think the higher fat definitely helps with women with our hormones. So, not 100% against like bioidentical hormone replacement therapy on some people either. And there are some people that have had so many years of this that is something that they have to do. It's made from either beef or pork, depending on, if you go to a functional, that's the only place I would ever go, would be functional holistic for that. Um, but that is something that some people that are so badly damaged have to have. But there again, I would not do that for an extended period of time there because your body will quit doing what it needs to do on its own. And after all, we're trying to wake it up, heal it, and allow it to do its own thing and to come back and do what it's supposed to. Um, many women with PCOS have seen improvement in their menstrual cycles, their weight loss, and even restored fertility after switching to keto or low carb lifestyle. Which, like I said earlier, if you have watched Dr. Barry, he talks about that. One of his earlier videos that he had warned somebody, like, you better be careful, you better be using protection, and they were like, all these years they'd been married and then boom, and I believe she was either 50 or 51, and like I said, everything turned out fine. So, good for them, but I can't imagine it. So, that is my discussion on PCOS. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments, and I'll go over what I'm going to be going over next week. I also am doing a live tomorrow with carnivore hunters, brothers. They are Doug and Rick, and it's going to be going over CGM. Rick has had a CGM for quite a while, several weeks, and so we're going to kind of go over that live and see how that's going. Let's see. A lady started keto and the PCOS went away. Now they're back, to standard American diet. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's dangerous because that opens them up to metabolic disease again. Um, but I will say that people who go keto, ketovore, carnivore that fall off and go to standard American diet, most of them don't go back as far as where they came from. So they don't have as far to come back to, from. So hopefully she's able to know what her why is to see if it's enough for her to eat healthier. So we'll see. So other than tomorrow's live, I do have an interview this Friday at 10:30 as well with a pretty big podcaster. So I'm not sure if she's going to do that live or if it'll be recorded, but once it's out, I will put that information out there. So next Monday, I'm going to be going over sarcopenia, which is age related muscle loss, leading to weakness, frailty, higher risk of falls, and metabolic issues. Um, and I would say sarcopenia is a pretty big word out there in the medical industry right now with a lot of these medications that were being very dosed very high. Um, and even some that wasn't high. Some people are at a higher risk, and you never know if you're at that risk until you do it. So let's see. Kat says, I'm trying to do my squats and weights, but I am so lazy. What I have found when it comes to working out years ago, I was one of those that I would wake up in bed and I would lay there and be like, I will talk myself out of doing anything. If I do, I just didn't want to get up and do it. So I'm also a creature of habit and a little bit OCD. So what I found was I would get my little sports bra, my running pants, and my shoes and socks and everything, and I would have them set right there facing me. As soon as I woke up and opened up my eyes, there they were. And it was like, all right, get your ass out of bed. And so I just started forcing myself to do it. And it was like once I started doing something every single day and started feeling better, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. And I found things that I like. So you have to find something that you enjoy. Like I enjoy sprinting, I enjoy rebounding, I love doing push ups. The majority are girl push ups. The other day I did half and half. I did half, and I did 50 nonstop straight. But yeah, so you got to find something that you definitely like, but you're not lazy. You're just tired, right? Um, oh, Melissa says she's eating her steak and butter while watching. Well, good. Yeah, I ate my, like I had a cowboy ribeye. I only cooked like maybe a third of it with some ribeye fat to go with it, even though it still had the fat on it, because I do such a high amount of fat to protein ratio. But I am still full. I did that at like one. I couldn't even think about putting anything, I couldn't even think about eating. So some days I do OMAD, some days I don't eat at all, some days I eat twice. Not very often that I'll eat 3 times a day, but there has been a couple occasions where I did, and that's fine too. So, Simpson is actually is asking why again not to do hit. So it's not that you can't do some hit exercises, but doing that high intense constantly like that's just like long distance running. I did long distance running, like 15 miles in the morning on my treadmill. I would do hit exercises. I would do like 45-minute kickboxing, like turbo fire kickboxing, just constant. Da, 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 da. But my cortisol, it really can mess with your cortisol. And so yeah. And I mean, muscle wise, it did help with that. But now I find I can do, 10, 20, 30 pound dumbbells and do different arm exercises. Like I said, I do all the push ups, I do planks, anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. I haven't gotten a 4 minute plank yet. That'll be my goal. But I don't want to, you don't want to bump that cortisol up really high because when you do that, um, it really kind of flushes your, forces glucose into the body. It's what it's the hormone that happens right before we're waking up. So a lot of times people's cortisol is kind of messed up and you'll wake up a lot of times at like 3 and you're like, "Why am I awake?" Cortisol's already kicking in, that system's trying to get better. Once that does kind of straighten itself out, when you wake up in the morning, that's why that cortisol comes in and boom, kicks out some gluconeogenesis and dump sugar into the system, which you want to wake up, but you don't want that to be high. And especially if you have high stress in your life as well, that'll just have your cortisol off the chart. And you do not want that. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, and then Carnivore Chance says it's a mindset thing. I think you're talking about with exercise. I agree. It really was. The other trick, and this was a lady who sold exogenous ketones. I think her name on Facebook was Keto Mom, I believe. Anyway, she was saying I used to follow her pretty just because of her recipes and stuff, but she would say that, if you wake up in bed and you're like, "Oh, I don't want to get out and do that thing." She said, "Count down backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get your butt out of bed." And just like forcing yourself. And like I said, it is a mindset thing at first, but once you start doing it and you feel, better from doing that, no matter what it could be just light walking, any kind of something, getting yourself moving. Once you start feeling better, it's really easy to get up. Now, like the other day, it was super cold and I was going to walk outside that day. I was going to do a faster walk and it was like 9 degrees. And I was like, nope. But I still did it inside. I just did it inside instead of outside. So, um, and probably didn't go as far. It's more fun to do that when you're outside. So, yeah. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you know anybody that has this condition, or really has any kind of metabolic disease, definitely share these videos out with them. I think that there is some value in them. I'll say it again. I am not a physician. I am a nurse. I have been an RN for over 22 years, um, and have been in a ketogenic type lifestyle since 1991. So, coming up, it'll be 34 years the day before Thanksgiving. So I am excited. You're welcome, Simpson. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to snuggle up with my cats. And yes, I'm a cat lady and work on some more blankets for patients. So I have dropped off many of those this last week. So yeah, so I have some more that I'm doing right now, and I have a new baby, a patient who has a grandbaby coming. So I'm making one for them. They don't know that, but we'll give it to them, and then they can give it to their family members. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to check out tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time if you have time to come in and kind of see how Rick's CGM kind of went. And maybe some of you guys have CGMs and can discuss that. So that would be great to see you guys. Thank you. As I always say, meet, heat, eat, and repeat.